Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock. Coming up, I'll tell you how Bill Belichick has permanently damaged the Patriots locker room.
And I'm Colin Cowherd. Before you give James Harden the MVP, I'll tell you why LeBron is more deserving than you think, and we'll prove it next. Speak for yourself on a Tuesday starts right now. Beating that drum, and I'm feeling better about my argument than ever.
More deserving than Lonzo Ball. I hope that's where you're going with that. All right. Hello and welcome. We start with a moment on our show from yesterday that made headlines. Hall of Famer Ray Lewis speaking about his relationship with Giants receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and the message he gave the receiver.
Listen, guys, we have a duty. And a lot of leaders are not stepping up to that duty. Guess why? They want to be popular on social media. But everybody's blogging. But nobody is talking about put God back first. Nobody is talking about, you want to know what I was talking about earlier? I'm talking about the simple foundation. The foundation of commitment. Of when you decide to read your Bible together. That's integrity. Character is me telling this young man, baby boy, listen, man. Everybody should not be talking about you like this. I'm only here to help you, OB.
All right, OBJ appeared to respond to Ray's comments, writing on Instagram, the foundation was installed at birth. We will survive and prevail always, God willing. He also posted a video of himself participating in a group prayer.
Big Mama, what we're doing, we're going to pray for OJ before he leaves, okay? We're going to acknowledge that who's the pillar, who's the strength, who kept all this going. And we want your prayers to be in it because your prayers has been with everybody that's in this room. And we have become who we are because of your strength. And we're going to pray for him, that God show him favor and continue to bless him, okay? Grab his hand. Hallelujah.
My initial response to this guy, I think this is positive. I think Ray's words landed with OBJ, and in the best way he could initially, he's trying to respond positively and affirm that he's not moving away from his foundation. And again, whether he'll live this out or not, but I think there are far worse responses I could have anticipated, more defensive, more aggressive responses. I think OBJ, to the best of his ability, is trying to say to Ray and others that, look, I'm not moving off of my foundation. I'm still a Christ-centered athlete. But so far, I think his response I would have to consider it positive.
Yeah, generally, when you respond on social media, it's snarky.
Yes.
It's firing back. It's coming down swinging. And I think OBJ is saying, I heard you, but I'm just going to show you God hasn't left my life. But I will say this. Let me go back to Ray's criticism. When I think of OBJ today, the 5 images in my head are the catch, the boat, the Instagram model, the proposing to the net, and the injury. Some are football, some are not. But his imagery now ain't great. And they lost the catch game. What Ray said was, dude, you're not centered. Now, I am more agnostic than both you guys. But Ray's point landed for me. Because what Ray was saying to me was, man, when you're not centered, I told you I had this conversation with my wife 2 days ago, your life becomes about anxiety and chaos. You start looking at OBJ's last year, Jason, the imagery, football or not football, is not positive. That fight is one of the images. So I think his response was actually a sign of maturity, which is what I've been begging for from Odell for a year.
You know what? I tell you what, man. I just got off the phone, and I won't mention his name, but I got off the phone with another player who called and asked for me to just be in his life, to pray for him, to mentor him, and all these things. And I'm gonna share something with you guys. If what I did yesterday was criticism, then God forbid what my kids go through. they don't have a choice. They don't have a chance. I'm telling you, and I said this earlier, what I said to Odell yesterday is the same thing I've said to my son. Same thing I said to my children. People that I love, people that I care for. You know, you take people and they take one line and they change the whole thing. Ray Lewis says Odell has removed God from his life. I said he's took a break. Why? Because I remember when I was younger and I took a break. I remember when I had it all figured out. I remember when I had friends that, oh boy, they was bigger than God. The people for me to impress, that's who I got to hang out with. I remember it with. And I had to be humbled. And that's why I tell you that if there's anything in your life that you know need changing, make sure you change it before God changes it. And my whole message that all of this thing has came out now, and to even here, I don't read all this stuff and listen to people, but to even be threatened that I'm trying to send people back to God. It's one thing I told my son. I can tell when you start reading your Bible. I can tell when you stop praying because you become distant. You become your own man. Today, for me, what I've always known is who the Odell is. What his foundation is, I've always known it. But me and my business partner, Phyllis Newhouse, talk about this all the time. If God doesn't stay in the middle, the devil sends fiery darts from all angles. And if you don't stay covered, I'm a living witness of it. He will find you.
This is one of the things I think is the most understood about the point you're making.
Yeah.
Is that you've made the mistake. And the reason why you're so passionate with Odell is because, like, please, God, don't make the mistake.
Don't make my same mistake.
And again, I think Chris Carter.
Yeah, Chris has been very, very outspoken. He was furious with him after the Instagram stuff.
It's coming from the same place. It's not coming from jealousy. It's not coming from, oh my God, Odell's not returning my calls or he's moved away from my mentorship. It's when you've made the mistake. Again, it would be like me if I saw someone developing the eating habits I had as a child. I'd be like, whoa, you don't want to do that. I can tell you exactly how that plays out.
But name another industry in the world that is pro sports. It is public. It makes 22-year-olds rich. And we have a history of many failing because they can't handle the money and the fame. There's almost no industry that pays people, maybe Silicon Valley, but they're not public. We don't know who these engineers are. We have a track record in New York, in Dallas. Young people get rich fast. Sometimes, Ray, you talk about your early struggles. First time you have money, first time you have fame. Women love you, friends love you, everybody. And you make mistakes. So when you and Chris talk about it to me, it's not as religious with what the internet struggles with. It's really almost inspirational. Hey, brother, I've made a lot of mistakes. You're going through the same trajectory I am.
My kids have one rule. You can never make the same mistake I made. Why? Because I am your blueprint. You got to come to me. You have to come to me. Because when you disappoint me and you make the same mistake, then we did not discuss that mistake. You did not come to me as the person I am, which is your father. I father many, not just mine, right? And this is the beautiful part about this, and I said this earlier. Honest to God to you guys, this is the beautiful part about this. If this gets us back talking about God, then I take whatever dart you throw at me. Because I'm dedicated to make sure that boys, young men like him, see the other side of it. Like, we owe them that. That's why I've dedicated my life to helping so many young guys. That's why the phone call that I just got walking in here, that's why the 22-year-old that I'm about to go see that wants me to become his father, that I'm possibly gonna adopt. You can't make this stuff up. That's why I never get swayed when I hear, just know it. because the mission is real. The purpose,
well,
man, it's deep.
First time he came on our show, Ray talked a lot about this. I'm in the city. You know, Twitter's about talking about that.
Yes.
Yeah, the very first time I met you, you're like, I remember asking you, what are you doing today? Well, after the show, I'm going to downtown Los Angeles to a mission. And I'm like, you just did 2 shows. And you're like, oh, brother, that's what I do. Yeah. So again, Ray's comments are going to be predictably criticized. Mm-hmm. But the reality is there's a difference between talking it and doing it. And since I didn't know Ray like you, but when I've met Ray from the beginning, it's been about action, not words.
Colin, to the point you made earlier, and that, again, I think some people that are agnostic or even atheists, they hear Ray or me, or, you know, Ray more passionately, Chris a bit more passionately. They hear us talking about God and religion, and it kind of turns them off because it's not their thing. But to your point, something has to center you, particularly when you become wealthy at a young age, because it will make you think that you're the most powerful thing on the planet. That's an experience that, seriously, without your wife and without your kids and the success you're having, it would be a lot harder to manage if your wife and kids didn't center you and give you a purpose and a call.
You know what time I went to bed last night? I'm married, 8:20. If I was single, there'd have been a 10, a 1. Yeah. I mean, that's the reality. We all need a centering point. For me, I'm more agnostic. It is my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a new boss in town at Buffalo Wild Wings, and he deals in bacon. It's the Bacon Boss Burger, featuring bacon 3 different ways and a blanket of white cheese sauce. And he's joined by other new favorites like the smothered cheesesteak quesadilla, sweet chili shrimp, and Alaska cod classic. All pair perfectly with a Sam 76, a fruity ale with the crisp finish of a lager. Hurry in today and try them all before they're gone at Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports, available for a limited time while supplies last. Please drink responsibly.
All right, welcome back. Ray Lewis here. Joining us now, Fox Sports Radio host Doug Gottlieb. Let's get to another surprising revelation in the Patriots' ongoing drama. A report says Bill Belichick chewed out Gronk in front of several teammates because Rob Gronkowski was a client of TB12, the kale-heavy diet and exercise regimen that Tom Brady developed with his trainer Alex Guerrero. This comes after rumors that Gronk has grown tired of playing for Belichick and was even considering retirement. Whitlock, you think Belichick can repair the Patriots locker room situation?
I think he can. I don't think he will, though, because, again, whether you're 24 years old like OBJ or 60-some-odd years like Bill Belichick, you can become full of yourself. And I think Bill Belichick has become full of himself. And, again, I've been beating this drum ever since February. The Malcolm Butler decision was the sign to me that Belichick's ego is out of control. He did something foolish and stupid. And I just think when I look at his relationship with Tom Brady, when I look at it with Rob Gronkowski, when I look at all the players that have defected the Patriots organization, I don't think Bill Belichick has humbled himself. And I don't anticipate that he will, and so I don't see this getting fixed.
Yeah, I was really wrong on this. I just didn't think the Malcolm Butler decision I'd be talking about it in April. It has been more profound, more damaging than I thought. I think it's going to be hard to prepare because Gronk and Brady are the 2 stars of the locker room, and right now they're struggling with Bill. If this was a backup corner and a special teams gunner, they get over it fast. But in the you know, if Tim Duncan and Tony Parker near their prime would have turned on Popovich, good luck with the locker room. I think it's very difficult. I think Tom is rich, has the titles, has his legacy. He doesn't have to suck up anymore. It's established he's the GOAT. He's not backing down as much as he used to. And Gronk doesn't spend his money. He's a Hall of Famer. It's been established. I don't think this is easy. I think it's rocky. I don't think it's going to get solved anytime soon. And I was wrong on it.
You know, something that I think when I was playing, something that was really interesting, right, is that we always had a certain temperature in our locker room with our coaches. there was a certain level of respect that we always had. And as men, the one thing that we will always come to with any head coach it was, whether it was Mark Broda, Brian Billick, or John Harbaugh, the ultimate always came down to a closed-door conversation. And those are the things that I don't think that's happening in New England, right? I think you're right. Everybody has their own egos, right? Everybody's kind of set. So Brady's set, Gronk is set, Belichick's set, right? But what's not set is the vision going forward.
Totally confused.
Right, it's just...
Tom may retire, Belichick.
Yeah, you just don't know, right? And so winning for them, to be honest with you guys, this is why I believe they win so much. Seriously, one of the reasons. All of that stuff, all of this stirring up and all this stuff, we talk about.
Right.
They deal with X's and O's.
Right.
How do I get better?
But I wonder, Ray, they're doing some of the gossip now is more than X's and O's.
Even if it is, then I want you to go back to the last 10 years. The most consistent team to be in the National Football League, right? That says something.
No, I'm not denying that. But to your point, it feels different today.
I don't think it actually does.
Right.
It feels like so many other years. Guy leaves, you replace him. Right? Julian Edelman's coming back from injury. He was their leading wide receiver 2 years ago. Yeah. You still have Rob Gronkowski. You went out and signed Jordan Matthews for $1 million. Pennies on the dollar because he's coming off an injury-plagued year. What do they always like? Really bright wide receivers who can understand what Tom wants. Kid went to Vanderbilt, was talented, playing in the Eagles system, just had a disappointing year. You got him on a prove-it contract. Yep. You go get Cordell Patterson. Why? You lost your 2 return guys. Deion Lewis is gone. So you're replacing bit by bit. Now, remember, you got 2 firsts, you got 2 seconds, you got a 3rd-round pick, and you got plenty of money. And tell me who in the AFC East is going to beat him. Buffalo has no quarterback. The Jets are probably going to draft a quarterback. Do you believe in the Miami Dolphins that have gotten rid of all their personnel? They're trying to copy the Patriots in going character over talent. That's what they're doing, getting rid of Ndamukong Suh and some of their other more profound talents. So, like, look, I get that it sounds like a huge deal, that Malcolm Butler. But remember, there's some comments that have come out of New England that have said, like, look, it stirred us up some, but it wasn't that stunning. He wasn't playing well. He wasn't buying in. He wasn't healthy. He wasn't on the team playing to the Super Bowl. Remember, he went to the hospital.
When during this entire 17-year run have Brady and Belichick not been on the same page? Or at least that's been the public position. Those 2 guys lockstep. I don't think you can say that anymore. That is different. You got, again, this whole Rob Gronkowski situation and the way Tom has rallied around from Butler to Gronkowski. Again, there seems to be a rift between Brady and Belichick. Ray, you don't see that?
But what I'm saying is I kept asking for this. We still don't understand the context of how he came at Gronk, right? Gronk could have walked in there with a platter, right, of food.
Right.
And Belichick could have simply said, oh, now you're on the TB12 program. That's going to help you a lot.
Remember, Julian Edelman was on the remember, Julian Edelman was on the TB12 program that's supposed to help you from getting hurt. He tears his ACL. Right. So does it work for all positions? But, like look, there was a rift between the organization and Tom Brady. About 7-8 years ago, Brady was catching a helicopter out of Foxborough. And some of the players, like, I don't know if you guys have been to Foxborough. It is the absolute worst place on earth to get out to after a game. And Brady was getting a chopper out because the smart thing to do if you got the money to do it. And the players were ticked. And they went to Belichick, and Belichick shut it down. One of the things that's allowed the Patriots to be the Patriots is he's tried to treat Brady like everybody else in film sessions. And I don't know if this is what you're getting to. Yes, there has to be a level of respect.
Yes.
But there's lots of coaches I played for that during the season I didn't like. Like, I didn't like them at all. It becomes us versus them. We don't like them.
See,
but that doesn't mean you can't play for them.
Robert, that's the thing. I'm not talking about like. See, like is totally different than respect.
Right.
Respect can put you in a room and close the door, and you can still have a conversation as men and then still go to work. The only thing that I really think that was one of the biggest mistakes they made was not playing Malcolm Butler. That's the biggest one. Out of all of this other stuff. Listen, we have watched this too many times. I have played them too many times to where, oh, well, this come out locker room. I said, y'all.
Let me stop you there. Doesn't Belichick owe his players an explanation for Butler?
He owes it.
Thank you.
He owes it, absolutely, yeah.
All right, welcome back Doug Gottlieb is here, and joining us now is Fox Sports NBA analyst Jim Jackson. Let's get to Colin's favorite player, Russell Westbrook, who finally helped the Thunder lock up a playoff spot last night. But we all know you can't talk about Westbrook without talking about triple-doubles. He notched his 25th of the season last night, and now just needs 16 rebounds in their season finale to average a triple-double for the second consecutive year. Cowherd, this is your chance to pay Westbrook a compliment. Is this season even more impressive than his MVP season last year?
I would like to congratulate him for clinching in game 81. I thought it was incredible.
Yeah.
With a Hall of Famer, he'll be a Hall of Famer, a legit big, and Melo was pretty good until this year, and now he's awful. I'll say it again. This is a team has the same record as last year, and they added 2 Eastern Conference All-Stars. And Steven Adams, who you saw early, is getting better every year. And I'm supposed to say, I'm happy because you could be an 8 seed if you lose to Memphis or a 6 seed. I'm supposed to be blown away.
Did I need to read the intro again? We were talking about triple-doubles.
Yeah.
The second consecutive year that he's averaging. Oscar Robertson only did it once.
That's the last guy to do it.
Russell
just say
Westbrook.
it's pretty impressive.
Okay, it is pretty impressive until you see a video where his teammates are clearly trying to get him rebounds and goose his stats. Watch them boxing out people.
That's how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to box out.
Time out. Look at that. They are boxing out for Westbrook. They're goosing his numbers now.
Yes, and look, we've seen this in the NBA. You remember 1994? Remember that? Remember when David Robinson went for 71 points
scoring title
against the Clippers, so he get the scoring title? Like, look, this happens. I've always said that we're going to look at stats, assist stats, point stats, rebound stats from this era, and we're going to have to skew them. It's like baseball steroid stats. It's like football passing stats because there's such ball dominance from James Harden, from LeBron James, and from guys like Russell Westbrook. We can't compare it to even 5 years ago. Between the three-point shot and the amount of possessions, the amount of time that one guy has the basketball, the stats are going to be skewed. On the other hand, like, look, Carmelo Anthony is washed up, and they traded 2 for 1 for both of the previous All-Stars in Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. And even though it could have completely torpedoed, they did beat the Pelicans on the road. They did beat the Rockets on the road in order to secure themselves a playoff berth. And it's not going to be a terrible playoff berth because they're going to beat the Grizzlies. So it hasn't been a complete disaster. It's hard to play with a washed-up Carmelo Anthony. It's hard to play when you have to play a big guy and everybody else in the league is doing away from their big guy. He's still a hell of a player. He's just a really inefficient shooter.
Argument. I still disagree with you. I don't like
You don't like it? I think it's perception, too, because you really are not a big fan of Westbrook personally.
Oh, no, what,
No,
what does
really
that mean?
not, because now, I've said this before.
He's odd.
I said this before. When you talk about some of the greatest players ever played, 2 players always, you kind of leave on the outside. That's Kareem and Kobe Bryant. Part of the reason why is because these 2 were aloof and people really didn't like them. So they don't get brought into the conversation as heavily, as passionate as other players because you don't really like them off the court. For guys that you like, you're going to pull for them and push for them. If this was another guy going for the second triple-double, I guarantee the conversation would be a little bit different because it's Russ and people don't like certain aspects of him.
Yeah, I don't like him.
But that doesn't discount what he's doing on the court.
Yeah, but what I don't like about him is that he's really dynamic, yet very difficult to play with.
But
Magic
let me tell you something. Steve Jobs, was difficult to work for. But some of the best people that worked for him said, listen, I did my best work when I worked for Apple.
I don't like your argument either.
Why not?
Because, again, Colin's point is he doesn't make other players better.
I agree. Look, I actually agree with that point.
Okay.
I didn't say he did.
But again, Steve Jobs actually made other people better, and Steve Jobs won the ultimate championship in his.
He beat Microsoft.
But I'm saying he's difficult to work with. Kobe was difficult. Mike was difficult. How much did they make them better?
Yeah, but they're getting titles. Westbrook's not even close.
Well, hold up. Westbrook hasn't been coached. He hasn't been coached.
Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, he hasn't been coached.
He doesn't allow himself.
That's the big thing, Jim. Would he allow himself to be coached?
Listen, I've been around difficult players before, and I say this, and I will say this: the right coach can get in the right player's ear. At UCLA, he really wasn't taught how to play point guard. So you come into the league and you play, and Scotty Brooks is your coach. I played with Scotty.
Scotty was the point guard.
Scotty wasn't off, but he didn't hold anybody accountable from the beginning.
Right.
So if you don't set that tone early on, guess what? I'm going to do what I want to do. Players are going to do that. But if you got a coach that can set that tone right away, I guarantee you a guy like Russell that wants to win and wants to be the best will adhere to that in some aspect.
Okay, can I look, my basketball breakdown of Russell Westbrook is this. He's arguably the best athlete in sports.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in terms of speed, explosiveness, and to be able to do it with a basketball is ridiculous. He is an unreal competitor, okay? But he is difficult to work with, difficult to play with, and I agree with you. He generally doesn't make everybody around him better. Can you win a championship with him? Yes. I don't believe you can do it with him as your point guard. You need somebody else who's a facilitator, and that's the flaw in the construct of this team, as well as the coaching is in the construct of this team. If you hire a college coach to do a professional job, this is what you're going to get. So do I blame Westbrook some? Sure. But they also have Sam Presti, who gets all the respect from the media. He's the one who traded away Harden, and he's the one who constructed this team. And it's a flawed construct in terms of the personnel and the coaching
Why
staff.
are you looking at
No. Because I don't think I've only got one argument. It's the second time he's done it 2 seasons in a row. He's done a triple-double. Oscar Robertson only did it once. That's impressive. And to me, to do it a second time, that's more impressive than even the first time. All your other points to me are accurate. He doesn't make other players better. He's not a guy that I think you win a championship with.
And they enable him there.
Yeah,
they really don't hold him accountable.
Well, and that's part of the issue.
But they also have to because they're Oklahoma City, and they fear him leaving because everybody leaves all of these small market teams when they become a free agent.
To a new twist in the feud between LeBron James and Miami Heat president Pat Riley. Ever since LeBron left, Riley's made it clear that he was none too pleased with that decision. Well, in a new book, Riley says that he's changed his mind. Riley said, quote, while there may have been some carnage always left behind when he made those kinds of moves in Cleveland, also in Miami, he did the right thing. I just finally came to accept the realization that he and his family said, you'll never, ever be accepted back in his hometown if you don't go back there and win a title. Otherwise, someday you'll go back there and have a scarlet letter on your back. Whitlock, do you think Pat Riley's actually trying to lure LeBron back to Miami?
No question about it. In my opinion, the timing of this book, the timing of this revelation, just all happens to be right when everybody knows LeBron's probably leaving Cleveland. What could be an easier transition for LeBron and his family than transitioning back to Miami? Pat Riley's smart. They have Dwayne Wade there. Dwayne Wade and LeBron still close. And again, I think if you look at the East, you add LeBron to the Miami Heat, and again, you add LeBron to any East team, and they're going to win the East. But I like the pieces that he would have in Miami. And LeBron may have reached a point in his own mind where he realizes the value that Pat Riley and that organization brought to him. I could see LeBron going back to Miami.
That would insinuate Pat Riley's begging. That's not his DNA.
It's a good thing.
I don't think he's begging there.
Why not?
I don't think he's begging. Look, what are the 5 stages of grief, right? 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And the end of that quote is, I accept it, right? He's saying, we're done with that. But he also brought up a story to which LeBron came in with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and kind of, hey, you ever get the itch? You ever get the itch to come back and coach? And he walked out of the office itching his leg. In other words, you can come and coach this team. And Pat Riley did what no one in Cleveland has done to LeBron. He stood up to LeBron James. And I think that's, one, creating a narrative of, I'm the guy who stood up to LeBron James, and maybe that's the reason we left him. And 2, I know what's best for LeBron James in his future, and I accept the reason that he went. And I also understand kind of the psychology of LeBron constantly challenging me. Listening to or reading these stories, you guys remember Jurassic Park? Remember when you first met the Raptors? And the Raptors would test the fences, but a different spot every day? Right. That's who LeBron is. Raptors are vicious, but they're also super smart and cunning, and they're constantly testing you. That's who LeBron is to coach. And in order for LeBron to get the most out of himself, that's the kind of guy that he's going to have to play for. I don't think this is begging. I think this is Pat Riley saying, you know what? I see your point. I accept it. I've moved on, and my little dream that time didn't work. There'll be another dream, and if he wants to come and play ball, remember, I'm the one guy who stood up to you in the past.
But see, I played for Pat, and I had the unique experience of dealing with his multiple personalities in this regard. Seriously, because he's as competitive as anybody.
Right.
Hates to lose, okay? But he holds everybody accountable. But he doesn't want his players at times to kind of figure out who he is. So he'll keep you off balance. One time he'll talk to you at practice, next he won't say a word. He'll buy you dinner, then he won't say anything. From my conversations with people close, it's more of an olive branch to say I made a mistake, I was wrong, not so much trying to lure LeBron back. Now, if LeBron said and talked to D-Wade and said, yeah, I would love to come back to Miami to see if we can make it happen, I don't think the Heat would turn it down. But I don't think this was a point where Pat Riley is saying that, yes, I made a mistake, I accept that I was wrong, I'm trying to get you back. And again, I don't also believe that LeBron's family was as happy in Miami as they are and wanted to go back to Cleveland. So that's still another layer that you're talking about that's kind of, I think, misinformed in regards to LeBron being and his family being happy in Miami.
What about Pat Riley thinking, listen, I'm a legend, I'm not going to be here forever, I don't want to be LeBron's enemy. Like, I'm almost done here.
There's probably some truth to that, but Jim is calling Pat what I think we all believe, the ultimate competitor.
Ultimate.
Okay, and so if you're the ultimate competitor sitting in his chair, CEO, part owner, whatever, why wouldn't you want LeBron James?
Because he got a bigger ego than a lot of people who've played the game. So sometimes that ego trumps the right decision. Okay, you see what I'm saying? It can trump that right decision. And again, from me just talking to people, now, it could be totally miscued or wrong, but from what I'm hearing is that that's not the reason why he sent out this message. Could it change? Probably. If Mickey Erickson wants that to be done, he respects Mickey enough to be able to make that happen and give it a go.
Well, listen, look, I think it's done. That door is mostly closed. I do think it could.
Why?
Why? I mean, look where LeBron is vacationing. Look where he's buying homes. He's no longer going down to Miami with the same regularity that he was in his first couple years in Cleveland. Now it's become L.A. He loves the idea of L.A. and what it can do for his brand after his career. But if you're going to come back, you're going to do it under Pat Riley's terms. Remember, if you read Phil Jackson's book, and what Phil got obliterated for was Phil Jackson relaying what Pat Riley had told him about having LeBron James's guys on the plane, that you had to operate. LeBron will leave when LeBron wants to leave. LeBron will go spend a night in Cleveland or a night in Miami when LeBron wants to do. And Pat Riley and Phil Jackson didn't like it. That's not how you run an organization. So I do think that it was a lot harder than he's ever let on. I do think that he's come to accept it. I think he understands the psychology of LeBron James. Would he take him back? Sure, but he wants to take him back under the guise of, I was the guy who you came in and wanted to fire my coach, and I stood up to you, and we won championships in spite of what you wanted. If you want to come back, it's under my terms. If not, I'll be the good guy and take the high road for me.
I just don't have that kind of pride. I ain't too proud to beg, and I'd be begging for LeBron James if I'm Pat Riley.
Welcome back. Jim Jackson's here, now the founder of the big lead, Jason McIntyre. To the NBA, where everybody seems to think that James Harden should be a lock to win the MVP. Well, I think those people should be locked up for insanity, because LeBron James now has the Cavs one win away from matching the win total from last year. And he did it despite most of the team either getting hurt or traded. He had no coach. Even without that sob story, LeBron has Harden beat in a number of categories. While Harden is averaging nearly 3 points more per game, LeBron has him beat solidly in field goal percentage, rebounds, also has a slight edge in assists. Whitlock, doesn't this prove, unless you have sort of an anti-LeBron bias, LeBron's the better player having the better year?
Why didn't you mention that stat at the very bottom, plus minus? LeBron's 102nd in the league. I think, James Harden is like 25th or somewhere.
Well, considering LeBron didn't have a coach in the last month.
These are the all-star players, plus minus. LeBron, 102nd. James Harden, 5th. You don't care about that stat?
No, here's what I care about.
If this were Westbrook, you would care about that stat. Since it's LeBron, no.
Let me add, in every other sport, this is a fact. We talk about totals. In baseball, you win an MVP because you hit the most home runs and had the most RBIs. In the NFL, you had the most touchdowns. In hockey, you got the most goals and the most assists. In the NBA, It's all about average. Did you average this? Did you average that? If you just went to totals with LeBron and James Harden, who's got the most this, put up the graphic. It ain't close. The only thing Harden has more of is wins, and he's got a better team. I mean, again.
Why do they play the game? Do I need Herm Edwards in here? I mean, do I got to bring Herm Edwards? Wins matter. It's always mattered as it's related to the MVP. And that's great that LeBron equaled the total from last year's underachieving regular season team in Cleveland. They did it again. That's great. James Harden's leading the best team in basketball.
Let me ask you, Kyrie left. Cavs have the same number of wins. If Chris Paul left, do you think Houston would be the same team next year?
No.
You made a great point.
Hold up. And how about this? But Jay, how about this? On that plus-minus list, take all those guys and say, let's put them on Cleveland's current team. Would they win 50 games? If you took one of those guys and just put them in LeBron's place, could they get that Cleveland team to 50 wins?
Probably not. I mean, maybe.
So that's what I'm saying. So sometimes the numbers, you can't just look and say, here's the numbers and this is what it is. His impact on the game is just, there's no other player like a Magic Johnson that could do it. But in regards to impacting the game like that, and sometimes the numbers are dictated by who's on the court too.
Of course.
I mean, and he doesn't have the best supporting cast. He hasn't had the most stable supporting cast.
You didn't even get to Jim hit the coaching situation with Ty Lue.
That's what I'm saying. There's so many more factors.
20 games. The Kyrie Irving, he's a top 10 player. You just take him off, replace him with a bunch of jabronis. It doesn't matter. 51 wins right now, headed into the final game. Whitlock, you also forget about this. Last year, you loved to talk about Russell Westbrook's triple-doubles. Oh, Russ has got triple-doubles out the wazoo. What did LeBron do this year? Comes out, gets a career-high 22 triple-doubles this season. Hasn't missed a game. What does he have to do for you to love him? Tell me.
Well, first of all, I do love
LeBron James.
No. I do. You know, I don't worship anybody. Okay. And so, now I will say this. Your Kyrie Irving point just blew me out of the water. I mean, that's a hell of a point. And you probably have flipped me a little bit here. I'm scrambling a little bit. That was a hell of a body. That was a hell of a body blow followed by an uppercut to the head. And so it's tough for me. You blew me away. Because if Kyrie Irving leaving that team, they got the same number of wins. That's a hell of a
You don't need to mention Mike D'Antoni, Jeremy Lin, Steve Nash. This is what D'Antoni's offenses do.
There was a point in the last 2 years where I've said this and you've said this. Kyrie Irving's the best finisher in the game, left or right-handed. Mm-hmm. And there are arguments we made that Kyrie is the best small finisher in our lives. He leaves. Rodney Hood comes in. George Hill. It's like, yeah, I won 51 games again. Come on now. That's incredible.
It's really incredible. It may be unprecedented, and we haven't really talked about that. Show me a great player. It was like Kevin McHale leaving Larry Bird, or Kareem disappearing, or leaving Magic, or Scottie Pippen leaving Michael Jordan. It really is unprecedented what he did. You've completely flipped me, and you know, James Harden's had a tremendous season. We saw, again, I think to McIntyre's point, we saw Steve Nash have great seasons under Mike D'Antoni and win MVP trophies that probably should have gone to Shaq. We could be making that mistake all over again here with LeBron James.
And I don't want to discount what Harden has done, because I think you got to really appreciate where he's come from and to where he's at. The ability for him now to accept being able to make plays and not be about himself, so to speak, in regards to really sharing the basketball. Again, he made players around him better before Chris Paul got there. Now he got a little bit more help. But when you look at the totality of what LeBron brings to the table, they're just two different kind of players. Harden is going to be who he is no matter what, okay, at the end of the day. He's a scorer first that learned and understood that I need to get some guys involved. LeBron is this, I don't know, just anomaly of a beast that says from the day he was born, basketball was going to be it. But then he got taught how to play the game a little bit differently. You know, in the Midwest, we defend, we rebound, we play defense, we pass the basketball, we do all these little things. He took that to heart. So he's the best thing going. He's the best player. don't discount Harden, but when you put it in totality, he's the most valuable player.
Did you mention his age, Jim? How old is LeBron? I forgot.
800.
He's 800.
You know,
okay.
he's
Career high in rebounds, assists at 33 years old. This is
What
unprecedented.
about LeBron fatigue? Meryl Streep keeps getting nominated, but you're not winning a lot. There's a sense that, okay, you've won yours. It's time for other people.
I think to your point there, though, and this is where you guys will perhaps disagree with me, LeBron's created some of this fatigue.
Yeah.
If LeBron, again, all season has talked about LeBron. He's acted as if he's the host of the herd and that you're the basketball player. And let me tell you all what y'all should be talking about today, how great I am. If LeBron, again, he created that fatigue with his arrogance and narcissism.
Wait.
If he had backed off a little bit and let us drive the narrative around him, I think he'd be in a better position to win the
So
MVP.
it should be an award subjective or objective. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Well, I'm saying because
it should be objective, but we got to deal with the reality of we're all human beings.
Okay, so what was the fatigue with Michael Jordan then? Yeah, it was. Karl Malone got it, and Charles Barkley. There's no way. It should have been Michael Jordan. He should have got 8.
That's a fair point.
I mean, you see what I'm saying? But it was.
Hold on. Based on this scenario, I think Charles Barkley had a better case for winning MVP than Harden has
I totally
right
agree.
now.
A better case, but should he have won it over Michael?
Was Charles Barkley's coach like D'Antoni this magic elixir that makes Chris Duhon, Jeremy Lin, Steve...
But he wasn't playing with bums at Phoenix now. He wasn't playing with bums at Phoenix.
No.
He went from Philly to
Amari.
Phoenix. No. When he was playing with Kevin Johnson,
literally-
Dan Marley, that was a whole different...
No, but
he didn't go in there with chopped liver and ended up making a great steak dinner.
But let me tell you something. When Barkley went to Phoenix, they were scoring 114 a night when nobody scored that. They were the talk of they were literally Chip Kelly at Oregon. We'd never seen anything like it.
Whitlock, do you think part of you is saying LeBron's talking himself up because guess what happened? In the finals, Kevin Durant was suddenly the best player on the planet. And Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double. And LeBron was kind of edged out of the conversation. Maybe this is his way of saying, don't forget about me, I didn't go anywhere.
Again, I think LeBron's work on the court would have spoke volumes. He didn't need to amplify that with his own mouth. I think it turned some people off. All right, time for last call. New developments today in the Colin Kaepernick's collusion complaint against the NFL. Kaepernick was in New York today to be deposed by lawyers for the league. The free agent quarterback filed the complaint after no team signed him last year. Colin, do you think the deposition will hurt or help Kaepernick's chances?
Hurt. So now he's even more of a newsworthy backup.
I think it's going to hurt him because I think they're going to expose him with his own words. They'll ask him questions about, hey, how much money were you demanding? Did X team offer you X amount of dollars to play and you said no? I think they're going to hang him with his own words. Bhagwan Kaepernick is going down. He's Bhagwan from Wild Wild. I'm calling him Wild Wild Kaepernick. If you haven't seen Wild Wild Country on Netflix, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, to a comment that has raised a lot of eyebrows, Mark McGwire, who famously became the first player ever to hit 70 home runs in a season, now claims that he would have hit 70 even if he didn't use PEDs. Colin, do you agree with McGwire?
No. I mean, come on. There was like a 6-year period where you couldn't get guys out. Their body shapes changed. They were thick. Come on, we know that.
His comments to me, though, are what he's saying, the balls are juiced right now, and if they juice the balls the way they are today, back in my day, he feels like he would have hit 70.
There's no proof that's true, that the balls are juiced.
Mark McGwire knows baseball as well as anybody. His perception is, in my view, the balls are juiced. He wouldn't have had to juice. All right, that's it.
See you tomorrow.